Hi, I'm John Ray, and welcome to the Thriving Podcast. I'm your host and intuitive coach, dedicated to amplifying your intuition, transforming your mind, and igniting your inner magic to create a life you're obsessed with. 2 years ago, I was burnt out as fuck in a toxic relationship and a successful tech career that I just wasn't happy in anymore. I left it all behind with no plan, and now I'm running my own business, immersed in purpose and passion, happily married to my soulmate, and living out my dreams every single day. And if you're badass enough to be listening to this podcast, then you're already on the fast track to doing the same, babe. On this podcast, we'll dive into all things life, business, heart, mind, body, and soul, empowering you to up-level your life and embody your happiest, healthiest, and hottest self. It's time to make idealistic your new realistic, because you're not just here to survive, you're here to thrive. Hello, my thriving fam. Happy Thriving Thursday. Welcome back to the podcast. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. 2 days into 2025. I am so sorry to start off your new year with this sad, devastating, tragic news, but I just recorded a 10-minute intro and then I was like, hey, I just realized I didn't check the mic to make sure that the sound was good before I started recording. So I'm just going to do that real quick before I get into the bulk of the episode, just to make sure it's probably fine. And alas, it was not. Narrator, it was not fine. So anyway, the bad news is you don't get to hear the 10-minute intro, which was really funny and good. The good news is at least I didn't record the entire episode with no sound, because that would have sucked. And the good news is I think I kind of remember most of what I said. It's just going to be less genuine because I'm now saying it for a second time, which is always a bummer. But anyway, I think basically the gist of what I was saying, maybe I'll be able to say it a little more succinctly so it's not like a 10-minute intro. You guys know me in the long intros. But basically what I was saying was, yes, Happy New Year. It's 2025. And then I was like, I'm just recapping, live replay right now. I was like, we're 2 days into the new year. Hope you guys are thriving. And then I was like, or not, if you're not thriving, that's cool too. And then I basically went into this whole reminder about how it's okay to not be right back on your shit the first day of the new year. And so now I'm going to just kind of go back into that spiel, but I'm going to stop saying, and then I was like, as if I'm recapping it, I'm just going to tell it to you. But basically, what I was wanting to remind everyone was, I was thinking about this the other day while I was on a walk, and I was like, I feel like people need this reminder. Just in general, when it comes to habits and just self-improvement, not even just New Year goals, but I feel like this reminder is especially prevalent around this time of year because of all of the New Year hype and getting back on your healthy habits and all of that. And a lot of people can feel a lot of pressure. You could see other people getting back on their habits, or you see other people that are already really good with their habits, and that's informing the kind of goals you want to set for yourself, and you're just putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And the whole kind of new year, new me, being my best self is almost we kind of define, okay, the best version of myself is a lot of the time this actually mythically perfect version of ourselves. And so number one, just to remember that perfection does not exist. And so when you're setting your goals, I touched on this a little bit in the last episode, but just remember to be real with yourself. Is this a goal that is coming from my higher self, that is coming from my intuition, that I just feel really called to, that I feel is expanding me, lifting me higher, allowing me to be more of me and who I authentically am? Or is this a goal that is actually pulling me away from my authentic self? Is this a goal that I'm setting because I am viewing a part of myself as broken, or that I need to fix, or I need to change this so that I'm better, so that I can be more like everyone else, so I can be more of this perfect mythical version of myself? And on that note, I think everyone needs the reminder, or if you don't even realize this, let me be the first one to tell you, nobody has their shit together 100% perfect all the time. Absolutely no one. It's not a thing. Humans are literally inherently imperfect. It's just how it is. And it's not a bad thing. It's just reality, right? So breaking away from, again, this just myth of perfectionism and that mindset and perspective as a whole, but realizing that person that you're looking at or thinking about or seeing online that you think just has their shit totally together, right? Who's really successful or who has a really good body, who's making a ton of money, has a lot of clients, who has a great relationship. And you're like, oh, like they just must have everything perfect, right? Like that coach who I see online who's just really successful and is making a ton of money and is booked out with clients. I bet that they just get up at 5 a.m. every day and work out and meditate and just have this perfect routine and they're so productive and they're always focused and they never doom scroll and all these things, right? No. That is not how it is for anybody. I promise you, no matter what level of success or whatever it is anybody is at, that is just not sustainable for anyone all the time. And I'm not saying that there aren't levels of having habits locked in. Every year I notice within myself, at least, that while I still am definitely not perfect and I still always go in waves, I still fall off of habits and routines sometimes and then I come back into them. I'll know, like, basically what happens is my baseline changes, right? And that's how it is for everyone. Like your baseline changes. And so you can raise your baseline pretty high or get your baseline to a pretty good place, right? So like for me, for example, with diet, that's something that's always, I've had pretty locked in for a while now. And so like my baseline, even when my diet falls off, is still really not that bad compared to the average person or like the sad American diet or the standard American diet, right? Like I don't eat processed food. I don't eat takeout. I don't eat fast food. I barely eat out as it is. I still eat fairly a decent amount of protein on a regular basis. I don't really snack. I don't really eat a ton of like desserts or processed sugar. When I'm off, like for example over the holidays my diet was kind of off and really it was just like I was eating more sugar and treats than I normally do, but my baseline was pretty good, right? So like that's kind of example. And then like when I'm like really on my ish with my diet, then I would just not really be eating a ton of processed sugar or like desserts at all, right? Or like very rarely. I would have it more in moderation, right? Do you get what I'm saying? Years ago, my baseline would have been, oh, like I just don't eat all day, or I just eat a big bowl of pasta for my, you know what I mean? So it's like your baseline improves, but there is no like standard of perfection that anyone is at. There was a time in my life where my baseline with sleep, like if my sleep was bad, if I was in a bad cycle with sleep, that would mean I'm staying up until 5 or 6 a.m. and sleeping until like 3 p.m. There was a time when I had access to that baseline. I don't have access to that baseline anymore. If my sleep gets messed up now, I'm staying up till 2 and sleeping till 10. So your baseline continues to improve, but it's all just different levels still. So no one ever is better or worse. You're just at different levels. Again, even really successful people, they sometimes aren't as focused. They sometimes fall out of their routine. They still hit the snooze on their alarm, right? They sometimes oversleep. It happens. People, even who are like really have really good body or are really consistent with the gym, sometimes fall out of their gym habit. And even people who don't, right? I'm not saying that there isn't anyone that has a habit super locked in. And I have some habits that are super locked in that I don't really ever falter on. But I guarantee you, with me and with anyone else that you're looking at, anyone who does have a habit really, really locked in isn't that way with every habit in their life. So they're still falling off sometimes with other habits, or they're still lacking consistency with other habits in other areas of their life because it's just impossible to be at that level of perfection every area of your life all the time. You guys know I talk about priorities all the time. So I just wanted to bring that perspective to you. I feel like somebody needed to hear it, to just remember that no one is perfect. Literally, no matter, again, how successful someone seems to you, I guarantee you they still fall into ruts energetically. They still have periods of self-doubt. They still fall out of their certain habits sometimes. They still miss days, like I promise, no one is perfect. I feel like sometimes we look at people who have the thing we want and we just assume they must just not have any of the perceived flaws that I have, right? Or like they must just be so consistent and perfect with all of these habits that I'm not good with. They're probably better with a lot of them in some ways, right? Or better with some of them, or have some things that you don't have. But also, I guarantee that you probably have some strengths that they don't have. And that's another thing, is you're probably taking for granted the habits that you do have on lock, because we're always just focused, of course, on the areas we want to improve, right? That's why we're always coming back to gratitude and celebration, because we don't focus enough on the areas that we actually already have, the skills and gifts we really have. Like, we take those for granted because we have them. We don't feel like we're lacking them. And Sindri and I have conversations about this all the time, because we just funnily really complement each other. Well, obviously we complement each other. We obviously are very compatible, but it's funny because a lot of my strengths are like inherent natural strengths. He feels like they're more weaknesses for him and vice versa. A lot of things that come really naturally and easily to him, I'm like, oh my God, that's so impressive because I aspire to have that or to be that. And he's like, what? That's impressive to you? Like, that's so not a special skill. That's always been easy for me, you know? And then he'll say something to me where he's like, oh my God, yeah, like that just comes so easily to you. I wish I had that. And I'm like, what? I never even thought about that like being a talent. Like, that's just how I am. You know what I mean? So it's like, it goes both ways. So remember that the things you see in other people, first of all, if you see it, you got it. So you're not lacking it actually in the first place. You're just being called to embody it more. But the things you see in other people that like, or assume other people have, just remember you don't know the whole picture. And also they're probably looking at something that you have and thinking, oh my God, how do they have that? And right, it's just like, grass is always greener and all of that stuff. Perfection is a myth, especially around this time of the year with all of the new year pressure and healthy habits specifically, I feel like is such a big one. And getting back into routine, just to remember that perspective and be kind to yourself. Not to say that you shouldn't set goals for yourself and hold yourself to a higher standard and like use self-discipline and all of that. I really encourage and support that, but just keep things in perspective. Don't be hard on yourself. I think the reason I got on this topic in the last episode is because I was like, you know, if you're like, you know what, I'm still kind of feeling like a potato. It's like the middle of the week. I was up till 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. Like I'm not back on the horse yet. That's totally fine. If you need a little more time to get back into routine, take it. You know what I mean? Do what works for you. And that's going to be different for everyone. I was going to actually do this episode. I know I just went on this whole tangent now, but I was going to do an episode, or I was wondering if I should do an episode, I should say, on like how to get out of an energetic rut or how to get back on the horse, how to start on a clean slate, start the new year strong or something like that. But I don't know, it just felt kind of boring to me. It wasn't like really lighting me up. Didn't feel exciting. I felt like it was kind of basic, kind of cliche. I feel like I've done it before in different versions. Like I did an episode once on like what to do when you don't feel like showing up online and kind of how to get out of a rut in that way, like in your business. I've done an episode before a while ago on like how to come out of a hermit phase, like an energetic, kind of like an energetic slump that was about. So yeah, I feel like I've given the tips here and there, and it really is just like what works for you. Some people are like cold turkey, hard start, hard stop, whatever. This day I am just like setting, right? So maybe you're like, starts Monday, right? That diet starts Monday kind of thing. You just pick a day and you're like, starting this day, this is the new rule of reality and this is how we're functioning. This is what I'm doing. Sindri works really well with that black and white. He'll be like, all right, starting tomorrow, I'm having no sugar at all for 5 months, except for really special occasions. He really likes to do strict like that. I kind of like go in the middle to where I'm like, all right, I'm going to set a hard date for myself of when I'm starting or stopping something, but I will work my way up in the goals, right? So I would be like, starting on January 1st, I am going down to only 2 treats a week instead of having sugar just willy-nilly every day because it's always around over Christmas. And then I'd work my way up from there. Or getting my sleep back on track. Like I mentioned, my sleep's been a total mess this month with all the traveling, the holidays, and everything. Literally, I got up for a 10:30 a.m. workout class this morning, and I seriously felt like I was getting up at the crack ass of dawn and going to like a 7 a.m. workout class. I was like rushing out of the house. I was like, oh my God, I feel so accomplished. I'm getting up and going to this early workout class. And I was like, wait a minute, it's literally almost 11 a.m. But to get back on track with it, I'm not like, okay, starting tomorrow, I'm going to bed at 10 p.m. and getting up at 6, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed no later than midnight and working my way back up. But I set like a hard date for me to start making the shift. So whatever works for you, that's really the only advice I have with that anyway. And I was like, I don't know, should I do something New Year's related because it's still like New Year's week, but I did a New Year's related episode last week and I was going to do like a kind of 2024 year in review or reflecting on my goals and everything I accomplished to like show you guys what's possible and all that. But I wasn't feeling too excited about that either for some reason. I was like, I don't know, feels just like I was feeling like I should do it. And like I felt like in theory I wanted to do it, but I didn't actually want to do it. Like I wasn't feeling intuitively inspired to do it. And I don't know if maybe it was just because I feel like a lot of the goals I accomplished this year were like very intangible things. And not that I don't think those are goals worth celebrating, because I do, but I felt like they wouldn't make for a super exciting podcast episode because it would kind of just be like, and I had this goal to be more confident and like now I feel more confident. You know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like I had, like, it was a lot of just inner work I did. And so I didn't feel like it would, I feel like I've talked about the isolated things throughout the year. So anyway, all that to say, I was like, what do I want to talk about then? What do I just feel inspired to talk about? Or what am I really feeling like people need to know? Or what do I want them to know right now? What's on my heart, which is like whenever I don't have inspiration for an episode, that's just what I ask myself. And then I just sit in the question until I get an answer. And so actually what came to mind, by the way, I'm getting so unbelievably hot right now. It's crazy. I am like sweating and I don't know why. It's probably because I have the light on. The light makes me so hot, but man, I'm like sweating. Anyway, I still find it hilarious that the first episode, literally, I was wrapping up and about to get into the main topic of the episode after 10 minutes. And now somehow I've like doubled the length of that. Only me. It's a special skill. You guys. Fun things that happened today, by the way, is I almost set my apartment on fire. Not really. But I tried. So I have these candles. So many thoughts in my head happening at one time. Part of me wants to just like fully embrace this style of podcast episode. So then I stop feeling like I have to apologize for rambling and just be like, this is the podcast. And like, yes, I will give you advice at some point. Like we will get to the topic. Or like, you know how some people have podcasts where they're just like, they talk and then the episode title is just like a list of all the things they covered. Almost like a Q&A, but not necessarily Q&A. It's just like whatever I happen to talk about. Like I feel like I'm feeling a pull maybe to just embrace that style of podcast episode. So then I feel like I can just like tell you stories and tell you random perspective shifts that are on my mind and also give you guided advice like I do and give you steps and tips for things, but like not feel like I would love it for it to like be more free flow, which I guess it already is. But like for me, I guess to just give myself permission and be like, this is the style. And so that I don't feel like I'm saying like, okay, gotta get on track now. And I'm like, it's all a part of it, you know, because it is, but it's more of just a reframe for me. So I guess this is me right now saying that I'm going to do that. Giving myself permission in the moment to make this shift. Okay. So anyway, the mini story I wanted to tell you is that I wanted to light my manifestation candle earlier while I was writing on my habits and finishing up, like finalizing my goals and things. And I have these matches that are like Taylor Swift themed. I think I got them. They came along with a Taylor Swift candle that I ordered like years ago or something from an Etsy shop. And I just have them displayed because they're cute. And I was like, oh, you know what? It would be really cute to use one of these matches to light the candle. I've never used them before and they feel special and sparkly. And so I went to light one and it started burning up. The wood of the match was very thin and it started burning up like really fast. And so I didn't know what to do because I was like, oh my God, like it's going to start like burning my fingers, and it hadn't lit the wick yet because the candle's pretty burned down. So the wick was kind of low. So I just like kind of dropped the match into the candle. And then I was like, what now? I don't want the match to like fall into the candle. Should I take it out? So then I tried to like the match broke in half. And so I tried to like hit the part out that wasn't fully on fire. And that didn't really work. And then it ended up catching my tissue on fire that was on my desk. And then I was like, okay, maybe this tissue will just like burn out. And I was like, wait a minute, no, this is bad. Like this is paper and there's a big flame. So then I like threw the tissue into the candle as well. And then I was like, okay, the tissue will just burn out in the candle. But then you guys know I was just talking the other day about how I hate the smell of smoky burning paper. And I just got that smell out of my apartment, which by the way, I Googled it. And apparently if you put a bowl of baking soda and vinegar in the room, it absorbs the smell, and it actually worked really well. So I put the candle then in my windowsill space. Like I opened the window and like, so I have a screen. I don't know if every window is like this. It's actually pretty convenient. Mine is set up this way, or maybe all windows are like this, but I feel like not all of them are. So there's a screen and then there's like a space in between, and then there's the glass. And so I put the candle in that space and then I closed the glass so that it was mostly burned out by this point, by the way. So I wasn't just like abandoning fire. It was just really smoky. So that way all the smoke had to blow out the window and it couldn't blow into my apartment. And I was really proud of myself. I don't know. I just thought of that story because I looked at the candle. Anyway, I think also because the thing that I did decide that I want to talk about to you guys today is just a short, or like it's a little short tidbit piece of advice. So I was like, I think in the back of my mind, I'm like, it's okay to like fill space with other, not like I'm just filling space, but like it's okay to talk about whatever because this is a shorter episode anyway. And so like we'll make it full length. Also, I did pull a card before this. Maybe I'll tell you guys what the card pull was at the end. I kind of did it before I had the idea for what I wanted to talk about because I was like, oh, I'll see if it gives me any inspiration and I'll give them like a New Year card pull. But then it was like really cute. So I'll give you guys at the end. But let's quote unquote get into the meat of the episode. The topic I did decide that I want to talk about today was basically like a tip for business owners specifically going into the new year, because my last episode was obviously very more like generic of just how to set and slay goals in the new year, like how to actually set goals effectively, set goals that are aligned, and make sure like that you'll actually be able to follow through on them and accomplish them. Very actionable tips, but it was like for any area. And I was thinking, okay, I feel like I kind of want to do something a little more business specific in this episode for you to take with you in the new year. And something that came to me was like one thing that I really wish I realized sooner in my business that I think would have helped so much. And I think this is also one of the most common things that I talk to my clients about too. And nobody really realizes this, and it really hinders your progress in business. And that is, if you are an entrepreneur trying to start or grow a business, you have to choose, you have to be very clear on your intention in the beginning. This is really for early stage entrepreneurs, aspiring or early stage. You still haven't made a lot of money. Maybe you haven't made any money in your business. This is for you. Is your goal clients? Or is your goal cash? Is your goal clients or is your goal cash? And I know that that sounds a little confusing, a little counterintuitive at first, because obviously your goal is both. And obviously a business, you have both, right? A goal of a business is to make money and have clients and make sales, right? If you're not making money and making sales, then it's not a business, it's a hobby or it's a charity or something, right? Like the fact that you're making money is really the only thing that sets it apart. I actually was just talking to a client about this a couple weeks ago, and she was like taking a break from her business, and she was like, I don't really like feel like I want to work on my business. But then she was talking about how she really wanted to try doing a class at her local studio, and she just really wanted to inspire women still, and she still really likes posting content, and basically all of the things that her business is like comprises, that like all the activities that are her business, aside from her literally asking for money. I was like, okay, do you realize the only difference here is you're doing all the same things, but there's no money element involved? So we realized that's what was pulling it down, and we had to like work through some money blocks and resistance. So yes, of course, money is a huge element of business. But what I mean by this is you have to be, basically, if you want both, you have to pick one to start with. And this is why. Because when you're in business, even though money is the goal, you cannot be driven by pressure and lack. It will not work. And so basically, in order to have success in business and make money, you have to be able to completely dissolve the resistance you have around manifesting money, which means you have to dissolve the attachment you have to manifesting money, to making money through your business, right? So if you're like putting so much pressure on, I have to make money from this, that's where everything goes wrong, right? You're not going to get the clients. You're not going to make the sales. I'm always saying on here, saying in my content, saying to my clients, you have to come back to connection and service, connection and service. Income follows impact. So your heart and your intentions and your goals need to be set on impact. Yes, I want the money, but I don't need it and I don't feel attached to it, right? So there's a fine line. It's not like we're saying, I don't need the money, right? Because a lot of times when we're saying, I don't really need the money, it would just be a nice bonus. That's actually us subconsciously resisting it. We don't realize. So it's not that we don't want it, but it's like, that's not our attachment. We are genuinely working from the heart because we are heart-led entrepreneurs and service providers, right? So you need to be in your heart and genuine in your intentions and genuinely thinking about how can I connect and serve with others, not thinking about how can I serve myself. That is how you're going to progress the most quickly and effectively in your business and how you're going to enjoy yourself the most as well. Okay, so we want to get to that place. And so the reason I say you have to actually choose and be honest with yourself, do I want clients or do I want cash? Like genuinely, what is my priority? Because if you're like, I want cash, I don't feel like I'm in a place right now where I can just fully set my sights and get into my heart about getting clients, regardless of the money aspect, because I really need money. then focus on getting yourself in a secure financial place first, or at least in a good relationship with money first, and then shift your focus back to the clients. Okay. The reason I say this is because I know a lot of us are kind of fed through marketing and online sales, et cetera, this dream of like, you can make money quick and fast. And it's kind of like a lot of us maybe come into it as almost an escape route, or we quit our job so we can go all in on our business, which is all well and good. I love for you to quit your job and start your business and go all in on it. Like, yes, absolutely. That's what I did. And I would have done it differently if I went back. Not that I wouldn't have left my job to go all in on my business, but I would have chosen to prioritize my relationship with money first before trying to get clients who were paying me, right? Like, I was trying to get clients and cash at the same time, and it wasn't working because I was so desperate for money. And if you are not in a healthy relationship with money, you can focus on manifestation and inner work and inner healing specifically around money, and you will start making more money, whether it's through clients or whether it's through some other avenue. Like, you will. And if you're focused on getting clients, then you can focus on manifestation and inner healing and inner work around getting clients, and you will get clients, right? And once you've done the work on both of those areas combined, then you will get paying clients. But it's basically like you're taking the long route if you just try to get both at once, because you really can only focus all in on one at a time. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, basically reflecting on my journey, I did like all of the work and had all of the lessons around every aspect of my business, around coaching, around client relationships, around showing up authentically online, around like all of that, to actually get to the place where I could run my business confidently and effectively and get clients. And I was doing all of that. And I remember saying, I was like, but the just one piece is missing is like, I'm still not making money. I'm not making a ton of money. I wasn't making a lot of money. And then I was making a little bit of money. And I was like, okay, like I have every other piece in place. It's just the money. And I was like, okay, because I need to actually just focus on my relationship with money and my actual money blocks specifically. I just had literal specific money blocks and money beliefs in my subconscious that I needed to alchemize, right? And change. And when I did that, then the money came flowing in. And then I had all the pieces. And it worked out fine, but in retrospect, I'm like, I spent so much time really being stressed about my finances in the background. And honestly, I kind of wish I would have reversed my priorities, because I think I could have showed up better in my business when I was putting focus on all those other areas if I had addressed that area first, because obviously that area is so tied to your feelings of inner safety and your nervous system regulation. And it's so tied to like how you show up with how much pressure you're putting on yourself and your launches, etc. Basically, be honest with yourself about like, is my business and getting clients my priority right now? Because you can get clients, you could get clients for free, right? You can start building community, making connection and having experience. Or is making money my priority right now? Because if making money is your priority over anything else, then it's going to sacrifice the quality of your service and your work and the way you're able to show up. It's going to sacrifice your connections and your ability to get clients. It's going to hinder your progress, right? So my biggest piece of advice would be just be honest with yourself for where you're at when you're starting your business. Do I need money first and foremost? I'm going to go all in on focusing on my money mindset and my relationship with money, get that in order, and then focus on building my business from this solid foundation. Or is my focus genuinely clients and building this business? Like, I have a part-time job, or I have savings, or I have a good relationship with money. I have a flow of income. I have financial security, whatever. It's like, do I actually, realistically, if I look at it, like I'm actually good with this and I just would like to transfer it to being through my business. And I would like to get clients and grow my business and make money through my business. Because if that is your goal, then amazing. You can acknowledge that and then just focus on growing your business and getting clients. Yes, paying clients, but you now have the ability and the awareness to detach from the pressure of making money through it. then you can open up so much possibility by allowing yourself to truly just be in your heart and focus on service and connection. And you will grow your business and make so much more money so much more quickly than if you are still putting so much financial pressure on yourself. And if you don't have that ability because there is genuine financial pressure, then literally shift to just solely looking at your money blocks, because guys, you can alchemize blocks fast. Like literally after I went through this whole thing, I was like, man, like I could have just spent like 2 months on my relationship with money right in the beginning and save myself so much stress and pressure related to money throughout the first year growing my business. You know what I mean? I feel like we're always like clients and cash, and it's like, actually pick one. Pick one, and the other one will come. And this may shift. And again, you're not going to avoid either one. It's just picking a priority to get started on the right path. So if you are like, okay, I'm in a good spot financially, I'm just going to focus on building my community and getting clients. You may still then come up against the block when you actually go to start trying to make money, or you're like, okay, I'm getting a bunch of free clients and no one's paying. And then you're like, okay, now maybe I do need to shift and focus on money because I'm trying to reach a next level of income. So there's always going to be next levels, and you're going to be shifting your focus and realigning your priorities always. But basically, I guess the main message is like, just check in and make sure that you are focusing on the right priority one at a time. I feel like it's confusing because there is so much overlap, but it also just really makes a difference from a manifestation perspective. And I actually remember encountering confusion with this because I remember seeing people would offer audio, like manifestation audios and affirmations and subconscious reprogramming things. I would be looking through, or like meditation, and there would be one on manifesting dream clients, and there would be one on manifesting more money. And I remember feeling torn of like, which one do I want? Because I realized they were representing the same thing to me, but they're actually two very different things. And the sooner that you actually get clear on that distinction for yourself, the better. Because also with manifestation, you guys know I always talk about, it's about the feeling at the root, right? Like, how will you feel when you get this thing? And they're two very different things. Because if I ask you, how will you feel once you are making more money through your business? How will you feel once you have more clients? Or how will you feel once you just have more money in general? They're probably all actually different answers. There might be some overlap, but whereas just money detached from your business, that might bring you a feeling of safety or freedom or security, right? Money through your business might bring you feelings of success and accomplishment and validation and confidence, right? Clients through your business might bring you feelings of fulfillment or confidence or gratitude. And again, there can be overlap, but it's actually a really important distinction to make. I also remember a moment where I realized that I wanted the money and the clients for different reasons. I actually wanted the money to feel safe and secure, and I wanted the clients to feel confident and fulfilled, you know? And then kind of at the Venn diagram of those two things was like, I wanted the money through my business specifically so that I would feel successful and accomplished, you know? And so those are all very different situations. And it's very important with manifestation to be actually very clear on what you're actually trying to manifest and why. So yeah, I feel like this is very, very overlooked. And again, it's not like you're saying by choosing one, you're saying I don't want the other thing. It's kind of just like a little brain hack in a way, not like totally, but it's almost like in order to get both in the most effective way, you have to shift your actual intentions and goals, knowing that that is what will lead to you getting both, right? It's kind of like the same thing when you're like, my intention is just to have fun. And it's like, well, also, of course, I want to have results and get clients and make money. But if you genuinely can just shift your intention and your goal to having fun, then you will get the results, right? That was really like the main tip that I thought of, that I was like, I feel like I just want to bring this to the podcast. As a business owner, an entrepreneur, or an aspiring one, when you're setting your business goals in 2025, the very first thing that I want you to ask yourself is my goal clients or cash? Which one am I focusing on first? Which one am I prioritizing? Because choosing incorrectly or inaccurately or not choosing is going to just sacrifice your progress to getting both. But choosing correctly will accelerate your progress to getting both, right? Because if you're like, okay, my goal is actually cash and I'm prioritizing cash first, then that will help you get clients more quickly and easily. And if you're like, okay, I'm good with the cash and my goal is really just getting clients and growing my business and my community, then you can focus on clients and connection and service, and that will help you get more cash more quickly and easily. So I feel like I've never heard anyone talk about this. And I really, really think this is like a pivotal shift. And intention is everything, right? And so really just getting clear on what is actually my priority for 2025, like you will save yourself so much time and so much money too. And you will see results so much more quickly in your business. Maybe I just had a little idea. Maybe I'll do an IG live sometime this week or next week of like a little biz planning sesh if we would be into that. Maybe or maybe not. Maybe I'll pull on my stories and see if you guys would be into that. Because I feel like it would be fun maybe to like go a little deeper into business planning. But basically I felt like this would be a really good like first step for you to actually make sure your business planning is starting off on the right foot and make sure that you are really like aligned in your goals and really guided on the right path and not getting, distracted and wasting your time going down paths that are kind of like going the zigzaggy way and taking the long route. It's like do it as efficiently and effectively as you can, because why not? And of course have fun along the way. Awesome. I love when we have a shorty. 40 minutes is a shorty for me. Real quick, I'll just share the card that I pulled for you guys. I think it'll be a fun note to end on. It's perfect for the new year. So the card I pulled was Rise. It's really beautiful, has like a bird on it and really pretty colors. I mean, I feel like you can already get the energy of it. I mean, like New Year, Rise is literally just about rebirth and stepping into potential and all of that. But I'm just going to read to you what the book says about the card. Yeah, essential meanings: being ready to rise, rebirth, second chances, redos, new opportunities, stepping up to your potential, announcements. Ooh, speaking of, I have a very special announcement coming on Friday, tomorrow. This Friday, January 3rd, it is a free, very, very in-depth, thorough experience for entrepreneurs. So keep an eye out for that announcement on Friday if you want to get first dibs. And on that, I am really, really excited about it. I've never done something like this before, actually, especially not for free. And it's going to be pretty epic. So keep an eye out for that announcement. And yeah, this card is really just all about rebirth and really being ready to rise and ready for change and really ready to step into your full potential. It says you are ready. You feel it in your soul and you hear it in your heart. You are ready to step up, unveil your brilliance, and run across the field shouting your dream to the world. Reach out and reveal a piece of your plan and share a part of your magic. Ooh, so this could be like if there's something that's been on your heart that you've been really feeling called to start or step into, like you probably had a thing that you're like, on the new year, I'm really going to take this seriously, or this is going to be the year I finally make this happen, right? Maybe this is the year you finally start your business or you finally leave your job or whatever it is. You're really being called to actually like make that tangible, share that with someone, express it with someone, tell people about it, get it out of your head and actually start to express it and bring it into reality. Even if it's just telling one person like, hey, I had this idea, or hey, I'm actually going to do this. It says, think bigger this time. You are going to rise higher than you ever have before. So you're going to need a grander entrance. Oh, what I just got when I read think bigger is like in your goals too. If you're setting your goals for the new year, think bigger, right? Stretch yourself. I definitely talked about this last episode, but also don't limit yourself to whatever your goals were last year. Again, we talked about this in depth in the last episode, but your goals, they're like just a guidance for you to determine your daily inputs and actions. And if you don't actually reach the goal, like it's not the end of the world. It's not about what we achieve externally. It's about, did I do everything I could to make as much progress as possible towards the goals that I want to achieve? And I think dreaming bigger and setting bigger goals helps us do that because then we're not as lazy with it, right? If you make a goal to save $100, you're going to not really be that attentive to your money because it's like, well, I'll save $100. Like I just have to give up a few coffees or go out to eat one less time and there it is, But if you set a goal to save $5,000, you actually have to make change. It's kind of like that 10x, 2x thing where it's like, it gets you thinking in it eliminates options and it makes it clear of like, what are actually the most potent, effective actions that I can take to get myself to this goal, right? It's also kind of like it lifts your energy. I think about it like when you're in a workout class, if you're leading a class, you, number one, want your energy to be so high and emphatic. Even same when I lead like a masterclass or something. I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before too, but I heard someone say once that the people that you're speaking to, or whoever it is, will match like half your energy. So it's like if you're at 100%, they're going to be at 50%. So if you want them at 100%, you have to be 150% or 200%. So when I'm teaching a class, I really am like hyping them up so that they feel like a little bit hyped, you know? Or same thing, I was just talking to a friend about this, of like if you're leading a workout class, you want to make it more challenging, because most people are not going to be doing 100% or 110% the entire class. They're going to be like wanting to take breaks and do a little bit less and be a little easier on themselves, right? And thinking they can't fully do it all. So if you tell them to just do 10 push-ups, then maybe they do 5 push-ups. But if you tell them to do 20, then maybe they do 10. So it's kind of that kind of idea. That's where I think the real benefit in thinking bigger is. It helps you to just expand your mind. And like I talked about in the beginning of the episode, I don't remember if I talked about that in this intro or the last one, if I talked about the baseline concept. God, I really don't remember if it was the intro that got deleted or not. I think I was this episode. If it wasn't, whatever. But basically, it's raising the baseline. So like if you expand your goal, even if you only hit what the initial goal would have been, like you've raised your baseline to where if you kept the goal smaller, maybe you would have only hit like half of that goal. You know what I'm saying? It says, give yourself permission to openly pursue the giant badass goal that you've got. Wow, could this card have been any more spot on? You will untether your potential beyond anything that you can fathom. Start to ask, why not me? And realize that it's your turn to rise. Ooh, this really reminds me of an exercise we're going to do in the abundance workshop tomorrow. I'm doing an abundance and wealth embodiment workshop for my mastermind CEO frequency tomorrow. We have 2 quarterly somatic embodiment workshops included in the mastermind. I'm considering opening this workshop up to the public afterwards, like the recording, the replay, and allowing you guys to purchase it for a very reasonable price, because I just know it's going to be that good. So keep an eye out for that if I decide to do that. I just posted a poll on my stories too to see if like you guys would be interested. Really more of a tease. I'm probably going to do it, but one thing that we're talking about is like, ask like, why not me, right? Why am I assuming that I can't have this or wouldn't have this? Why am I automatically putting it down? And start to shift the question to actually look for the evidence of why you should have it and why you are worthy of it and why you are capable of it. If something is coming to a halt, or if you have recently severed an unpleasant blow to your momentum, this card illuminates a time for second chances. So essentially this card is saying whatever the thing is that you're wanting or you've been trying to go after, like, yes, do it. If you needed a sign, this is your sign. Like, there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. No room for questioning. Yes, you're meant to do it. And yes, you need to fucking go for it, girl. You are being gifted a redo with all of the rebirth energy of the Phoenix, and this time you get to decide just how far you fly. Take a moment to regroup and implement any changes that are needed, and then open your wings and rise. Wow, that last sentence is so relevant to like what we were talking about, like getting your energy back in alignment, getting back on track with the new year too. Oh my God, what a cute card. And then the little question prompts are, how hard are you on yourself? How are you keeping yourself down? Ooh, that's a really good one to ask. Are you motivating yourself as much as you would others? Are you rising up like a warrior and upping your inner dialogue and your self-love right along with your skills, your promotional materials, and your to-do list? That's a big one, right? How much are you focusing on the tangible things you need to do for this goal? And how much are you focusing on actually embodying and on doing the inner work, changing the way you're talking to yourself, changing what you're affirming into the world, changing how kind you are to yourself? And does your outer success match your inner glow? All about embodiment, of course, as always. I love that. So yeah, basically, if you needed a sign, it's fucking go time, girl. You are ready. Think big, dream big. There's literally nothing you cannot accomplish. 2025, it's time to thrive. And I, yes, love that that rhymes. Yeah, okay, fun episode. We got a little bit of everything in here. Woo! My pop filter thingy just fell down on my lap. All right, I think that's all I have for you guys today. I love you so much. Keep an eye out for the announcement on Friday. As always, if you have any questions, anything you want to share, if that message resonated with you, if you want to share anything about that, or if you have any follow-up questions on that, I'm happy to give you any more guidance or just talk about things. I'm always one DM away. Just shoot me a message. You guys know I really, really, really love and live to hear your thoughts about the podcast. Like anytime anyone messages me about an episode, I'm just so excited. It's like my favorite thing because I feel like you guys are talking back. Like I love talking to you guys, but the worst part of it is that you're not talking back. You can't talk back. And so I really love to hear your thoughts and hear like what comes up, what resonates, what didn't, and even just like everything. So I'm just a message away. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your New Year goals or just how you're feeling, what kind of energy, what vibe you're in right now. If you're like, yes, I am like fucking ready, I'm getting back on the horse. Or if you're like, no, girl, I'm a potato. Like, I need some motivation. I'm taking my time. Whatever it is, I would love to know. Of course, as always, if you found this episode helpful, if you think it would resonate with anybody else, if you want to help support the podcast, I would love for you to screenshot it, share it out, share it on your stories, tag me, send it to a friend, anyone that you think would enjoy it. It means the world. And we got some big podcast goals this year. So every rate, every review, every share helps so much and is so much appreciated. All right. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day or night wherever you are. Don't forget to stop, take a deep breath, and smile. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.